It's time for a reality check.
We're here to deconstruct health and fitness trends and provide tangible advice so you can become 1% better with each choice starting today. Welcome back to Reality Check. We're your hosts, Jess and Jill. And today, this topic is stemming from just the idea or the concept of getting in shape when life is busy. And once we talked about this, naturally there are so many angles and things that we want to touch on and hit home. But I think the overarching theme is getting in shape when life is busy. And I think that expectations in anything in life are really what lead to happiness or demise, right? If you have unrealistic expectations of anything in life, you're likely going to be let down and feel frustrated, right? Through this process of getting healthy, getting in shape, there are so many women that we work with, that we talk to, that we don't even engage with, who spend years and years and years developing unhealthy, right, or unhelpful habits, and living a lifestyle that leads them to a place where they don't feel good about how they look. They don't literally feel good in their day-to-day. And then when they come to us desperate for help, they're looking for labs, they're looking for answers, they're looking for how long is this going to take me, right? And whenever somebody says, how long will this take? Or will I reach X goal in X time? It's almost a red flag to me. And I'm like, hold on, we've actually got other work to do on the front end here first with this conversation before we even talk about getting a result, because, you might have spent the last 5, 10, 15, 20 freaking years developing unhealthy habits that have driven you to a place of dysfunction, feeling fat, overweight, whatever it is, right? And now you're like, hey, in the next 90 days, can I lose all of the weight and feel like the best version of myself? No, that's not realistic, right? So we really want to talk about, what does it actually look like to get in shape when life is busy? What does busy even freaking mean? Because that's different for everybody. Mm-hmm. And how to go into this and get the best result and feel the best about it. And having the right expectations for different seasons of life and the result that you want. And Jess and I are great examples of this, of we've been lifting weights, doing all of these things, talking about and living and breathing this healthier lifestyle, right, for us. And we're at a place where maintaining is really easy. But I think we were talking about this yesterday or this morning or something, but even with clients, we meet clients where they're at, right? We don't care how unhealthy your habits are, where you're at. We will meet you where you are and open that chapter and work our way through, right? But Jess and I don't think twice about choosing more nutrient dense options when we go out to eat. We are conscious about eating protein, right? It's very second nature for us. So it is incredibly easy for us to maintain where we're at right now, because we've developed over all of these years these healthy habits that drive us to that place. Not to mention, we've built muscle. We're metabolically more healthy than our chronic dieting years, whatever. So it's that much easier to maintain, right, amongst all of that. But if you're a female who's been living a life of unhealthy habits and dysfunction, and you're coming to us to get a physical result, you cannot get by living the way Jess and I live, where we lift
right now
3 days a week, right now, where we lift 2 to 3 days a week. We don't track our food because it's very easy for our bodies to maintain in the state that they're in. You have to come to us.
And if you think about it, you could, if you want to maintain where you are, right?
Right.
But if you want to make change, you have to do more than what we're doing, because we're not currently doing enough to elicit change. We're doing enough to maintain. Yeah. We talk about this a lot because I have this internal battle. I'm proud of my physique, and I'm happy with my physique, and I'm happy with the fact that I'm able to maintain doing the least and feeling healthy and all of that, right? Because I'm in a life season with 2 little kids, and I work, and I feel like there's never enough hours in the day. Something has to give at all times, right? When you have little kids. But I sometimes am like, ooh, I don't know. I've gotten to a place where I don't really post my own progress pictures very often, because I feel like, oh no, now I need to give all this context of well, I'm able to maintain like this because I was lifting for 10 years before I got pregnant, right? So my metabolism And all that muscle is what makes it easier for me now. It's not because I'm doing the most right now. And I talked about this a lot actually when I was closer, like more postpartum. I got so many messages. I gained a very healthy amount of weight. If you looked at pictures of me postpartum, you would be, oh, she's a little overweight, right? That's normal. That's healthy body fat when you're growing a child. Within like 6 to 8 months, the first 6 to 8 months, I did not diet at all. I ate normal. I kept training. I had already trained my metabolism to do what I wanted it to do. And I just kept going, kept lifting, kept eating protein, kept eating well. And I didn't even lose much weight, but my body composition changed drastically. And I got all these messages. Oh, well, how did you lose the weight fast? How did you get your body back or whatever? And I'm like, oh, this has nothing to do with what I've done in the last 8 months. This is about the 5 to 10 years of lifting before getting pregnant, and then lifting during my pregnancy, and then not chronically dieting for 5 years leading up to it, right? So like all of those things are context like pieces that you don't look at when you're just looking at somebody's figure. So I think one thing that's really important is to not compare, regardless of your life season. Don't compare to yourself when you were at your perceived fittest or leanest either, right? My body's never going to look how it looked before having children. I gained excess body fat. Your shape physically changes, your hips and your ribs. Like there are things that are never going to be the same, but also lifestyle is so different, right? Me right now, really striving to get 2 lifts in a week and having pretty poor sleep is not the same metabolism as me when I was in college and I had no responsibilities other than a job in college, and I was able to work out 6 days a week and sleep in every day. And you know what I mean? Like I can't expect the same results as that. And why would I? My life is different. I don't want that life. I want all these other fruitful things that are in my life right now. So just the comparison game to yourself or to others.
Yep, absolutely. I think that's so important. And I think that, especially in the landscape that we live in today within this industry, we are so inclined to look for a simpler solution, a faster solution, or whatever, which obviously everyone wants to some degree, right? Nobody wants to spend unnecessary amount of time doing or executing something or getting a result. But again, in the landscape of GLP and just everything else around marketing in this industry these days, we come in with these really crazy expectations. Even though there have been often with the women we work with, a lot of previous failed attempts, right? Like I have women that come to me that are like, I have reverse dieted before. I've worked with a naturopath. I've done a gut protocol for SIBO before, all of these things, right? And they come in and they're like, so convinced their body is broken. But I think what is most important, and obviously we'll get into the actual like how to do this when life is busy situation, but understanding that no matter what, GLP, gut protocol, any attempt or approach that you make in getting healthy and getting fit, whatever your goal is, the way that you live your life and your day-to-day habits ultimately are going to drive you to the place that you want to be, or they're going to drive you to a continued place of dysfunction. So to give you a little bit of a context or an example, gut protocols. I have people that are like, no, I had H. pylori, I had SIBO, I did this super long gut protocol and I'm right back where I started. I have worse symptoms, I'm still fat. Here's the problem. This person, typically a naturopath, which I'm not throwing shade at all of them, but it's a common scenario. They do these really expensive, in-depth supplement protocols, right? But so often they're not even giving nutrition recommendations for these people, not to mention you starving all day because you're so busy and you're on meetings and smushing your calories in later. You're staying up late on your phone because you want to scroll and relax because you've had a stressful day. Your food quality sucks because you're choosing things out of convenience and you can't possibly fathom the thought of carving out 45 minutes to meal prep nutrient dense foods at home, right? So you have these supplements and they might actually resolve whatever presented on your stool test, right? But at the end of the day, you're still drifting right back into living in the environment with the inputs that drove you to this point of dysfunction anyway. Until you get to the core of this and the root of this and actually change your habits and your behaviors day to day, you're going to continue in this vicious cycle. And it's really hard to watch women choose this other path, right? Whether it's GLP or whatever. And again, obviously, if you've been here, you know we're not against GLP. But the problem is that we are looking for these tools and these solutions, trying to get out of actually making the changes in your life. And there really is just no other
They're
way other than
inevitable.
fueling your body with nutrients and building muscle. And you got to do the things that sometimes suck and you don't feel like it. And that is the moral of the fucking story. So understanding that is important to now shift into, how do you get in shape when life is busy? If you come to us, and we've talked about this before, doing 0 workouts, it's common, right? Well, it'll be, oh, I was a D1 athlete, so I lifted 5 days a week, but now you lift 0. And in your head, you're like, well, if I can't do that, why do anything? Right. And now we've got a problem, because now you're doing nothing and you're not moving forward at all. And the only way to guarantee you don't make progress is to not fucking change anything. Right. And you, like, in your heart of hearts, you're like, I was this athletic person. I want to make a change. I want to be healthy, but you're still not doing the things that you need to do to get to that point, right? So understanding what your starting point is and what is actually realistic, and then knowing, okay, 1% better than yesterday over the course of 12 months, let's say a year, right? You are going to be exponentially healthier and more in shape if you do that. But most people are like, what's the point, right?
Because it doesn't feel like an extreme before and after within a month.
Right.
Like, that's how we get to this place where you can maintain even when life is busy. Doing the basics really, really consistently.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with a client actually this morning. Something that really resonates with me is thinking of health choices like a bank account, where I'm either making deposits or withdrawals. So kind of similar to Jill's analogy of, am I even driving in the right direction, or am I driving away from my goal? I like thinking of every single choice as in that similar scenario. Am I making a deposit or am I making a withdrawal? Because if I think of it in that way, if you want savings in that bank account, this imaginary health bank account, you have to make more deposits than withdrawals over the course of your life, right? Now, sometimes the withdrawals are worth it. Sometimes it's something I'm really excited for. I'm really looking forward to this thing. It's a social occasion. It's a memory. Other times, I'm not eating the thing that maybe tastes the best because it's not worth it for me to withdraw. I would rather make a deposit and choose the healthy thing in that choice. Now, the important thing I think here is every single choice is an opportunity to make little deposits as you go. You can add a penny here, a quarter here, a dime here. And I think so often we think, well, I'm going to wait until Monday, or I'm going to wait until the first of the month, or I need to do this big life overhaul, or I need to give me a protocol, give me a meal plan. No, what's the next meal you're eating? It's 11:45 a.m. right now on the East Coast. Okay, at noon or 1, a lot of you guys are going to be eating lunch. What are you having for lunch today? Can you add a protein? Can you add a fruit or vegetable? Great. Add a little deposit to your health bank account. After that, maybe you have the choice to sit on the couch and watch Netflix when you get home, or you could go for a walk outside for a few minutes. Which choice are you going to make? Do you want to make a withdrawal or do you want to make a deposit? These little choices add up every single day. We have tons of choices. Those little things, those moments are the things that are going to change your life and your health and your physique as a consequence. Don't even think about your physique. If you start to live in a healthy way like that, the way our bodies are designed to live, naturally the healthy physique will come as a side effect.
Yeah. And I think that we often look at getting healthy as weight loss. And, I just posted this on social media like yesterday, the day before, that weight loss is a side effect of getting healthy. If you move your body more day to day, if you lift weights and add more muscle, if you fuel your body with more nutrients so you have enough energy to execute the things that you need to be healthy and move your body, you are naturally going to lose weight, and it's going to be a side effect. It doesn't mean you can't have a dedicated protocol and make a conscious effort towards weight loss while you're getting
You're
healthy,
naturally
right?
going to
They're
lose
not
body fat.
independent. Right.
I'm going to specify, I know you guys who have listened to us for a long time know how we talk, but I'm going to specify body fat loss, excess body fat loss is a side effect, right? Because if you put on muscle, you're becoming healthier. Your physique will still change in a healthy, desirable way. You're going to look healthier as a side effect of becoming healthier, even if that scale isn't changing because you're building muscle, right? There's different ways of becoming healthy. The physique change will go in the direction you want with time.
Yeah, absolutely. And just knowing that I mean, this is what we do with clients all the time. They're coming to us for generally some type of physique change result, right? But I think it's really important to understand that if you're living in this place of dysfunction and you don't feel good, right? I have gut issues, my hormones, I'm tired all day, I'm irritable, I'm stressed 24/7, whatever. It's not that you're not going to see physique changes up front, but you need a period of healing. You need a period of healing metabolically. You need a period of healing your gut, right? If there's a targeted protocol that's required. But most importantly, you just need to give yourself, your body, your mind the time and the space that it needs to see what it looks like to pursue a healthy and goal in a realistic way. Like, you've gone about these extreme measures for so long that this initial phase that we take clients through is about 6 months, and it's so critical to the process, long-term success, sustainability, everything, because you have to understand what it actually feels like to consume truly maintenance calories, right? You've often not intentionally ever eaten over 2000 calories, right? You've either been in a restrictive diet intentionally and restricting your calories, or you're YOLO, what's the point, right? And you're not generally monitoring your intake at that point. Just It's funny, a client actually, I checked in with her a couple of weeks into her protocol, and I'm like, hey, how are things going? Right? Because she's working with one of my coaches. And she's like, I know I'm not actually eating more in this process. I'm just being more consistent. But holy cow, does it feel good to just consistently fuel my body? I cannot believe how satisfied I am, how energized I am, how easy it is for me to do my workouts because I'm giving my body enough of what it needs. She's like, I can't believe how much better I'm just sleeping, and I haven't really changed anything drastic, right? So understanding that you have to give your body the tools that it needs to heal and do the things that you want it to do, right? So that's step one. So when we're talking about getting in shape when life is busy, first of all, coming in with the right expectations and being realistic, not really ultimately setting a timeline for yourself at the end of the day. And then also understanding that you have to fill your cup first to be able to pour from it, right? You have to give your body what it needs, and likely what you haven't been giving it for months or years at a time, and lay that foundation first. Fat loss is freaking easy once you're in a healthy place metabolically. You have a good relationship with food. You've built some muscle. You're just healthier.
But it
right?
takes so long to unwind those poor habits that we
Yes.
have all been conditioned by, right? That's the hard part, is the mental, I need to get over the fact that the scale went up 1 pound, but I'm eating more and I feel better and my sleep's good, because it really messes with a lot of women.
Yep.
So, okay, in terms of the basics, the things that Jill was talking about that her and I do as a second nature thing, this is not hard for us, but it's because we have practiced it as part of our life for so long. Every single day, without trying, I am getting 7 to 12,000 steps. I'm not hitting a specific goal right now in my life, but I have an Oura ring. I've had one since 2023. My average steps are somewhere between 8 and 9,000 steps, and that is normal for me. Now, for clients, you guys know that if we're in a season of building or cutting, I might manipulate your steps up or down, right? I might turn different dials to get specific outcomes, but we're talking about general basics. If you do these basic things our bodies were designed to do, you're going to get healthier. So one is just get steps, get movement. Two, eat protein, prioritize protein with each of your meals. And if, again, we don't think most people should be tracking all the time for the rest of their life, right? If you want to keep it simple, have 30 or 40 grams of protein per meal 3 times a day. And then additional things are going to add up a little bit, and that'll push you over that like 120 mark in protein. Sometimes what I'll recommend is like 2 big servings of meat. Say most people like that with their lunch or their dinner, right? Sometimes I'll have like leftover salmon with my breakfast or steak with my breakfast or whatever, but think 2 big servings of meat. Then I think like maybe 2 what I'll call half servings, maybe a serving of eggs, maybe a cup of yogurt or cottage cheese. Maybe that's about 15 grams each, right? So if you've now got 2 servings of meat, 2 servings of those that maybe are 15-ish grams, you're already at 90 grams for the day. You add a protein shake and boom, you're at 120 without having to count calories or anything. So protein, minimum 30 or 40 grams per meal, steps, Sleep, I'll let Jill talk about this one so that I'm not calling kettle black, but it's real. Recovery is so stinking important for all health processes.
Yeah. So, I mean, sleep is definitely a big one. And there are literally like hormonal and biological impacts of lack of sleep, but also psychological, right?
And cognitive too,
Yeah.
like everything.
They're major. So that's just a huge piece of the puzzle. But I think also understanding, it's funny. I actually saw something about this morning on social media, and it was talking about this girl's like 20-step morning routine, right? She's like, oh, I do this and this and this and this and red light, meditate for 5 minutes and journal and da 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 da, but I don't feel good, and I'm still want to lose 30 pounds, right? And it's like, okay, I love that for you. If that morning routine feels good and fills your cup and helps you start your day, but that doesn't change the fact that you need to fuel your body, you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, and you need to be lifting weights and building muscle, right? So we get so caught up. We've actually done a podcast episode on this. I think it was called You're Missing the Forest for the Trees, right? You're trying to do all of these things that social media tells you to do to get healthy and biohack. And people are like, oh, but I eat all organic. Okay, that's great. But if you're still under fueling, under nourishing, and not sleeping enough and all of those things, you're not going to get the result that you want, right? So,
and you can't outwork a lack of recovery. So prioritizing sleep, like sleep is your ultimate recovery tool. This is like a scale that we're trying to balance. If you are doing CrossFit 6-7 days a week and you're not getting enough sleep, you are running down that system horribly. Often in those cases, and again, I do this with myself during this current life season, I'm going to pull back training. And it's not because training isn't good, right? But maybe I'll bump my steps up so I'm still getting plenty of movement during the day, but maybe I'm only doing heavy lifts twice a week instead of 6 or 7 days a week because my sleep is really poor right now. And my easiest thing during this life season with little kids who are waking up still all the time is to pull back my training a little bit, right? So we're finding balance. And then also adding plants, like eat things that grew in the ground that are different colors, not things that are just bastardized by us and with all these ingredients and just for convenience.
Yep. And then like, let's say you're a client, you're a woman, you sign up with us, you're coming in. I literally just had this conversation with a new client who's a real estate agent, and she's got these goals, right? She wants to hit this thing and have this timeline and whatever. And that's okay to have to some degree, right? Some target and something you're working towards. However, she has not worked out consistently in a very long time. And when I asked her, what can you do realistically? And she's like, I think I can do 3 or 4 days a week. And I'm like, how about we start with 2, right? So I think being realistic of your starting point, starting slower, just know you can add and ramp up at any time, right? That's the beauty of it. You can also scale back at any time.
Just like during a busy season. Yeah, during a busy season, don't stop, adapt, and then go back to it when it's a normal season again. That's how we maintain.
Busy is not a reason to stop. It is a reason to adjust, right? We still have to be healthy even when life sucks and it's busy and it's crazy. You just choose what things can I do, right? So it might be starting with 1 or 2 days a week of lifting. It might be starting with 1 or 2 days of adding a walk after dinner, right? Genuinely, it can be any small step forward. And I think that's the beauty of having a coach, is having outside perspective of like what levers make the most sense to pull right now, what is realistic, what's going to move the needle forward. And then if you say, hey, I can commit to X, Y, and Z, right? 2 lifts a week, 30 grams of protein in the morning, and getting off my phone at 9 o'clock. Those are going to significantly move the needle for you, right? But if you're my client and you say, I can do these things, I'm going to say, great. This is about an estimate of what our timeline looks like. How does that feel for you? Now that client can say, oh, I don't like that. Maybe I can do more, right? And then you start to evaluate and say, check in with yourself. Are you being realistic with yourself? Are you selling yourself short? Are you overshooting? It could be anything, right? And again, just knowing that you can ramp up or scale back at any time. But the biggest downfall and the most important thing to know, no matter what, when you are on a journey of getting healthier or losing weight, the thing that is going to be your demise is your unrealistic expectation based on what you're doing. If you go into it knowing I'm just getting healthy and doing the things that I'm capable of and my result will come, you'll never have a problem getting healthy or losing weight ever in this lifetime.
But if you have a very targeted specific goal, the more targeted and invested your inputs need to be. And again, it's our job to set expectations and say, hey, it's okay to meet in the middle. It's okay to drop that goal for a minute or slow down the goal because your life season might not accommodate for that.
Yeah.
It might not be
we do that all the
realistic.
time with clients, right? Of like, hey, you have this goal and you've said 3 weeks in a row, I'm going to hit these things, but you haven't hit them yet. Do we need to adjust something or permission to change your target right now, right? Whether
That's
it's moving the
okay.
goalpost or just living in a different season. Sometimes clients are like, oh, thank God, right? Like they almost like won't even give themselves permission to do that. So I think, again, it's expectations over and over and being realistic. So getting in shape when you feel like life is busy, not setting a specific timeline, at least initially, and
Move in
meeting
the right
yourself where
direction.
you're at. Yeah. Know your starting point, know what's realistic, and be flexible. Be willing to change the plan because you're not going to get it right the first time. It's okay to start slow and then ramp up as you go and as you master those things. And it's also okay if you overshoot to dial it back a little bit and reevaluate your plan and your life season. Yeah, I think that's it. Getting in shape. We're all busy, right? We are all freaking busy. We all have shit to do. I'm not saying we all have the same 24 hours in a day because I don't believe that. But we are all busy in our own ways, in our minds, in our life, in our day to day, in our schedules.
What are the things you can control within your choices and within your day? And what are the things you're able to do? Focus on those things you're willing and able to do and just move the needle forward with every little small choice each day.
Yep. And have a plan and hire a coach if you do need to outsource and delegate some of that thought process and planning and thinking about the next step, right? Obviously, shameless plug, right? But that's the point of coaching is to, especially in those times where you feel like I'm so busy, I don't know how to do this. So many women come to us and they know the things that they need to be doing, right? They just need help with execution and getting on the right track and moving in the right direction. And then we set them free and they go thrive on their own, right? And that's really the point. So hope that's helpful in terms of getting in shape when life is busy. Just do something, anything, but pull the most effective levers first. To Jess's point, the protein, the lifting, the steps, the sleep, the nutrients, and counting colors, right? That's going to move the needle quickest. And then from there, you can simplify, ramp up, set a target, and obviously move towards that. So that is all for today's episode, and we'll see you guys next time.